Well, folks, welcome. Good morning to Indaba Africa. This is Chris coming to you live from central Pennsylvania, many hundreds of miles north of Cape Canaveral, Florida, where soon we'll be seeing the launch of the Mars Perseverance Rover mission, and it's taking off here very shortly. Welcome, everybody. Glad to see you wherever you find yourself around the world this morning. Here we are once again on the cusp of yet another amazing achievement in space. It's been a busy couple of months here in the United States with the Falcon 9 SpaceX Crew Dragon launch with NASA just a little month ago, getting astronauts from the first manned space flight from the United States in about a decade. That's successfully taking off. We just had the Neowise Comet pass by this big blue marble, and now here we're about to launch a mission to Mars. Welcome, folks. Glad to have everybody with us here. Let's see what's going on, who we've got in the chat, and I'll be bringing up the live feed here in just a few moments, but I wanted to go through a few things first. And this is what we're talking about today, ladies and gentlemen. Mars 2020, the Perseverance Rover, along with the Ingenuity Helicopter. That's right. Mars is launching, or NASA is launching a helicopter to Mars as well. In case you didn't know it, it's a proof of concept. That's what's going on. That's coming up here shortly. That will be on the... somebody just do something there. Just had something ringing. But let's see who's in the chat very quickly. Say hello to everybody. Flip du Plessis, Bosch Zebra, Top Secrets, a long time no see. Lonwabo Malulo, welcome. Good to see you there. Bradley Cook, Robert Zede. Welcome, folks. Glad to see you. Kobus Janse van Rensburg. Yes, I feel blessed today. A little bit tired. I was up late making videos and premiering them, and I've gotten up to do this now. So, yeah, the little helicopter is called Ingenuity. That's absolutely correct. Let me take this off very quickly, folks, so you can see it. That's the helicopter, Ingenuity. Of course, one of the problems with flying things on the surface of Mars is its atmosphere is razor thin. Mars' atmosphere is just 1% of Earth's atmosphere. And the way you fly is you use lift from the atmosphere. And so it's difficult to achieve lift on Mars. This is a proof of concept helicopter, the Ingenuity. It's mounted on the belly of the Perseverance rover. And so once the rover lands, this thing will get out there and prove the concept it can fly on the surface of Mars with 1% of the atmosphere that we have here on Earth. It'll be pretty exciting, pretty amazing stuff. But anyway, that's the Ingenuity helicopter. That's kind of cool. Check it out. And I'll be bringing in just a moment here the live feed from NASA. And what I'm going to do is reduce the size of myself here and bring that in, put you in the background. And so let you guys know that part of what's going on here is that there you go. There's the live feed. Okay. Let me slide myself over here real quick. That's not the right one. Sorry. Yeah, so what's going on here is the mission launch that's coming from Cape Canaveral includes Mujega Cooper, one of the up-and-coming astronomers, famous astronomers that's out there on the scene. She's made very famous by the popular program How the Universe Was Made. She is a big contributor to that program. There she is, Mujega Cooper to the right. You see her there on the screen. Pretty exciting stuff. We'll have the volume up here shortly. The launch is scheduled for 14 minutes from now. So just before we get to the launch, I'll go ahead and turn down my volume and get to that. But let's talk a little bit about the Mars Perseverance mission, ladies and gentlemen. Pretty amazing situation here. It's being launched into space by an Atlas V rocket. That is the mainstay of the space program in the U.S. for decades, the Atlas V program. My grandfather was the lead engineer on the tail assembly for the original Saturn V rockets back in the day. They got the Apollo space program up in the air. So let me move this down just a little bit here. There we go. All right, so that's the Saturn V rocket. Now, this particular one's is the 541, which is a very powerful Saturn V rocket with 4 giant 350,000 pounds of thrust rockets that nozzles contribute to this lift. And this is quite amazing aircraft. Of course, this is not our first time to Mars. NASA first got to Mars in 1965 with the Mariner 4 mission, and then began landing rovers on the planet with the Viking 1 mission in 1975. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Cape Canaveral. There's ULA's Saturn V rocket waiting to launch Perseverance rover on its way to Mars. Can you imagine that? Just 13 minutes away from launch time now, folks. Very exciting, coming up shortly. So let's see what else we've got going on here. Who's in the chat? Bosch Zebra, Teresa Smuts, good to see you there. Sometimes it's better to say nothing at all. I have to dip out of this one. Okay. All right. There is the crew, or the launch station crew waiting there from ULA. That is the company, the private company that's involved with NASA for this launch. And later, I should say the Sojourner rover was another rover that NASA put down. And then, of course, the famous two rovers, the two twin rovers, which were Spirit and Opportunity, which landed on Mars in 2004. The little rovers that could. Going on for a much longer period of time than they were anticipated, doing amazing, amazing science and exploration for NASA and for the world, for the United States. Quite amazing stuff. So here we have the effort. The purpose of Perseverance is to find evidence of past life on Mars, to collect rock samples, which will eventually be returned to Earth. Can you imagine that, ladies and gentlemen? Rock samples from Mars. That's what we're talking about here. The Perseverance rover. There you go. That's coming up soon. So in case you didn't know it, folks, you had a chance to be a virtual passenger on this flight. That's right. There's my boarding pass right there. You can see it. Yeah, check it out. That is my boarding pass to make this mission virtually, joining NASA and ULA in this launch on a mission to Mars. By the way, getting a lot of frequent flyer miles. A lot of frequent flyer miles. So check it out. Who else has joined us there? Emery Forster, good to see you there. Who else? We've got Bradley. I already said Bradley. And yeah, welcome, folks. Renee, hey. Well, you're welcome, Renee. It's my pleasure. Hopefully you get some enjoyment out of this. This mission, which is, there's Mujega Cooper to the right there on the screen. This mission is launching today. This is a narrow launch window from now until the 15th of August. And the aircraft, or this must get in the air in that time frame. The reason why that's so important is that the Earth and Mars are on the same side of the sun at the moment, and this will reduce the amount of travel time and save on fuel for the flight. And this happens once every 2-year time period when both are lined up on the same side of the sun before their orbits take them and separate them by distance. And so as a consequence, this is the launch window for the next couple of weeks. So we've got to get this thing in the air now, get it up there and save fuel. But it will be scheduled to land on the surface of Mars on February 18th. So unlike the New Horizons missions, which we had to wait like 9 years to get this thing to land, this mission will be in just a few months, ladies and gentlemen. Here it is, July, and by February, there you go. There's the capsule carrying it. The rover's inside there, and they will be landing on Mars on February 21st, February 18th, 2021, excuse me. Yeah, so that's a very short time coming up. There you go. There's Chief Engineer for NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, Adam Stelzer. And look at that. They got a Zoom meeting going on there with all these folks involved in this mission. We're going to bring them up in just a couple of minutes here. And hey, Liaison, welcome there. Welcome. Yeah, fellow flight mates. That's right. We're all Marsmonauts, right? Ranger Jakes is with us now. Thanks, folks, for tuning in. Glad to see folks jumping in the conversation there. Hope you're enjoying this morning, having a lovely, pleasant afternoon in Africa. For folks in Botswana and South Africa, it's already afternoon. I'm going to take my boarding pass off the screen because it's a little distracting, and then you'll be able to see what's going on as we get ready to talk about the mission. Bosch says I'm on point with my facts about the launch. Well, thank you very much. I do research for the things that I do online. It's not just pontificating. And actually, there's a lot of technical facts for this one, so it was kind of cool to look them up. Really quickly, let me bring this up again once more before we get into the actual launch. That is the Ingenuity Helicopter. Can you imagine, ladies and gentlemen, we are sending a helicopter to Mars. Mars, where the atmosphere is just 1% of Earth's atmosphere. And of course, if you know anything about principles of flight, you need an atmosphere to fly, yeah? So this is going to be quite the challenge there. But this is a proof of concept helicopter called Ingenuity. And Ingenuity will be on the belly of the Perseverance rover. That's correct. So that will be fascinating in and of itself to see if flight can be proven. Pretty exciting stuff. So what they're trying to do is, let me read directly from their objectives for the mission so I don't miss anything, is with Ingenuity, the purpose is to prove powered flight in the thin atmosphere of Mars. Yep, the lower gravity and the atmosphere of just 1% makes it much harder to generate lift. This is a proof of concept, and it will also demonstrate miniaturized flying technology. So how cool is that, ladies and gentlemen? So we're going for two birds with one stone here. It's not part of the scientific mission. It is, however, a proof of concept. So that's some pretty cool stuff. Really, really enjoy that. So that is, there you go. There, look at that. Isn't that cool? Check out that. Yeah, there's Perseverance. Yeah, this is amazing, ladies and gentlemen. As I said, hit after hit, things going well for space exploration under the Trump administration. Thank you, President Donald Trump, for getting us back on track with space exploration and space travel. Here we go, going with the SpaceX NASA Falcon 9 Crew Dragon launch just a little over a month ago, sending our astronauts for the first time from U.S. soil back into space and manned space flight. And first time in nearly a decade that took place. And then we've been watching the Neowise comet streak past the Earth here in the past week or so, week or 10 days. And now here, when it comes to astronomy, we have Mars launch for the Perseverance mission. There's folks outside NASA Center there in Cape Canaveral. You're just 7 minutes away. I'm going to go ahead and Ranger Jakes likes my hair too. Everybody likes my hair. I'm the only person that doesn't like this haircut. But thank you so much for that. I'm going to go ahead at about 5 minutes till. I'm going to turn down my volume. And for the last 5 minutes, we'll go ahead and listen to the NASA crew there and the NASA broadcast with Jacob Cooper and the others. And then I may comment as we go along, but we're going to tune in and catch that, folks. This should be quite fascinating as the NASA ULA rocket is about to launch the Atlas V rocket to send this Perseverance rover to Mars, departing today in about 7 minutes, 6 minutes, 58 seconds, T-minus 6:58 and counting. And we'll launch this on a Atlas V rocket into space to get to Mars on the 18th of February, 2021, ladies and gentlemen. Fascinating stuff. Really, really cool. Actually excellent. $300 million mission. This is pretty exciting stuff. So we're down to about 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Bosch Zebra says, also heard that Bob and Doug are returning from the ISS soon. Yeah, they will be back soon. Sorry, when you say Bob and Doug, I keep thinking of Second City Television and Bob and Doug McKenzie. Take off to the Great White North. It's an American thing, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I'm wearing a USA Rugby jersey today. There you go. This is a BLK jersey and has USA on the front of it. So proudly wearing that. Another hit for the U.S. Liaison says the hair looks good, but more partial to a crew cut, nice and short. Yeah, I've had short hair for 3.5 decades there, Liaison, so I was going crazy letting it grow for a little bit. Kind of missed the back. It was all down the back on my neck there, and I'm kind of missing that. Folks, we're down to 5 minutes and 55 seconds, T-minus 5:55, before the launch of the ULA Atlas V rocket, taking the Mars Perseverance rover along with its little travel mate, the Ingenuity Helicopter, for space flight on Mars, or man flight, not man flight, but flight on Mars, I should say, not space flight. There you go. Check that thing out. Isn't that amazing? Huge. These Atlas V rockets are massive, the largest ever made. Historically, they're something else. 5 minutes and 20 seconds. Okay, I'm going to tune down here in just a couple moments, folks, and then we'll all catch what's going on. Really exciting stuff. Really looking forward to this. Hopefully, it looks like a beautiful day in Cape Canaveral for the launch, which is now just 5 minutes and 10 seconds away. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and back out and listen with you guys for the launch as we take off. 5 minutes, T-minus 5 minutes to launch, ladies and gentlemen.
Third of our 5 teams. We got to hear the end of that where the range was clear to proceed, and ULA's launch director, Bill Cullen, gave the authority to go for launch this morning at 7:50 a.m. Then we got to hear from the JPL spacecraft team that they are the fourth team, that they are on internal power, and timers are set. They are targeting a liftoff of 7:50 a.m. this morning. So all things are looking good for us, Joshua, this morning. It's so, we talk about being nervous and excited. This is right here where we're nervous and excited.
Yes.
There are a lot of things happening as we get ready to count down to the liftoff this morning. We have about 15 seconds left in this hold before we pick up the count.
Yeah, we're going to listen into that. The fifth team, the one we haven't mentioned yet, is the Department of Energy, who is responsible for the MMRTG, the power source for Perseverance.
3, 2, 1, mark.
Awesome. So this is now the terminal countdown. This is that time when things become more and more automated over the next few minutes, and the energy's building, but the focus is increasing exponentially.
Yeah, as Tori said during his interview, the teams are very disciplined, very focused on what they're doing, the operational sequence of events that they're following. They are making sure everything happens, especially in this T-4 and counting period, because there's a lot of things they have to do. They have to finish topping the vehicle, make sure that all the tanks, first stage, second stage on Centaur, are at flight pressures and full of fuel, ready to go for this morning. They have to make sure the FTS system is armed and ready for personnel safety just in case, so that the range can do that. They have to check the electrical and avionics systems. They have to make sure that the flight computer has all the information it needs to place Mars 2020 into the orbit it has to. So a lot of things going on. Exciting time for the team right now, but again, staying focused and following that procedure they've got.
3 minutes.
as we look ahead to post-liftoff, want to kind of preview for you what's going to happen because there's going to be a lot going on. You're not going to hear much from us. You'll actually be hearing from the ULA flight commentator, Jesse Gonzalez. He'll be kind of giving those calls past liftoff that will walk us through maximum dynamic pressure and into SRB separation and then into fairing separation, booster separation, and then the first main engine ignition of the Centaur,
yes.
RL-10. And so then you'll kind of hear us jump back in and help provide some more context to what's going on. We encourage you to stay with us for the rest of the show. That there's a ton more content we have to bring you, and we are far from over. Want to emphasize that the countdown to Mars is not done at 0 today. The countdown to Mars ends in February when Mars 2020 safely delivers Perseverance and Ingenuity to the surface of the red planet. So we're going to let you listen in now and enjoy the last couple minutes of the process of launching a rocket.
One minute 59.
Vehicle internal.
1 minute 55.
Launch sequencer start.
1 minute 50.
Securing Centaur LH2.
Securing Centaur LO2.
So there we heard the fueling is
1
wrapping
minute
up.
40.
Yep, fueling is wrapping
Launch
up.
enabled.
Team is gone. Launch enable's
137.
done. Launch conductor sequence is ready to go. They're getting ready to turn the vehicle over to auto
FPS
sequence at T-minus 31 seconds. So that's a big thing that they're getting done here. At T-minus 25 seconds, we will hear the team give their final goes that everything is ready and
1
the
minute
launch
20.
vehicle is ready to lift off and
OCU
perform
armed.
this mission.
SCS count
1
started.
minute 15.
Produce CSCS for launch. Roger.
1 minute 10.
Then valves locked.
One minute.
Rock, report range status.
Range green.
That's good to hear, Joshua, right
That means
there.
public safety there is accounted for, the FTS system. There you see on your screen a beautiful shot. The skies look great. There is little wind happening. You'd be able to see more of the venting. If there were wind, the trail of that venting. So we're ready to go.
And actually, that's an
40
important
seconds.
point. The reason we don't see that
Stable
venting
at
is the
F3.
vent valves have been locked up to put flight pressure into the tanks. And as we just heard, they're stable at step 3, which means the tanks are ready to go. And here at about 5 seconds, we will
28
hear
seconds.
the team
ECS reduced for launch.
give their
Roger.
final go.
25 seconds.
Status check. Go Atlas. Go Centaur. Go Mars 2020.
There we go. We are ready to go lift off this morning, Joshua.
Eight, 7, 6, 5, 4. Engine ignition. 2, 1, 0.
Release.
And liftoff. As the countdown to Mars continues, the perseverance of humanity launching the next generation of robotic explorers to the red planet.
And Atlas TU has gone to closed loop control. Coming up on 30 seconds into flight, the RD-180 is throttling down as expected. Engine response looks good. And Mach 1 Atlas V is now supersonic. And passing 45 seconds into flight, vehicle is now passing through max Q, maximum dynamic pressure. And passing 1 minute into flight, the RD-180 is throttling back up as expected. Engine response looks good. At this time in flight, the SRB chamber pressures remain nominal. The RD-180 pump speed and fuel injector pressures are responding well to demands on the engine. Standing by for SRB burnout shortly. And we have burnout on all 4 SRBs. Burnout pressure signatures look good. Standing by for SRB jettison shortly. And we have a good indication of SRB jettison of all 4 SRBs. And the vehicle has gone to closed-loop guidance. Vehicle body rates are responding nominally at this time. And coming up on 2.5 minutes into flight, the RD-180 is throttled down slightly as expected. Engine response continues to look good. At this time, the vehicle is 50 miles in altitude, 85 miles downrange, traveling at 6,000 miles per hour. And the Centaur reaction control system is now pressurizing to flight levels. And just past 3 minutes into flight, the RD-180 is now throttling to maintain a constant 2.5 G acceleration limit for payload fairing jettison. Engine response and vehicle acceleration look good. And we have good indication of payload fairing jettison and Centaur forward load reactor deck jettison. And the RD-180 is throttling back up to attain a 4.6 G acceleration. Engine response continues to look good. And Centaur has begun the boost phase chill down sequence to thermally condition the RL-10 for operation. Standing by for BECO shortly.
BECO's the call for booster engine.
And we have BECO, booster engine cutoff, standing by for stage separation. And we have good indication of Atlas Centaur separation.
So there you're seeing live footage.
And we have
the
MES
rocket.
1. RL-10 operating parameters look good. Chamber pressures are stable. This will be the first of 2 burns for today's mission. This first burn will be approximately 7 minutes in length.
So, Mick, that's pretty exceptional footage there. That's live video. We will see that switch over shortly into an animation that kind of helps let us know what's happening with the rocket. But right there, a beautiful liftoff. Fun to feel that rumble in the building here as we proceed towards orbit and then towards Mars destination.
Yeah, absolutely. It was great watching an on-time liftoff of the Atlas V with that little over 2 million pounds of thrust. Cleared the tower in roughly 5 seconds. Josh, you and I worked the InSight mission, and if you recall, that mission on the West Coast took about 17 seconds to get past tower. So with those 4 solids today, this thing really got out of here and on its way. It's, as we hear from Jesse, everything's looking nominal, and all vehicle parameters are within the design limits, and we're getting ready to come up on a main engine start for that first burn that Jesse was talking about.
Yeah, so recapping this countdown to Mars, the stations began to be filled up this morning just after midnight. Preparations, fuelings, powering up, all the way through that liftoff that happened. I think, Mick, it wasn't precisely on time. I think you said it was like 10 milliseconds early. So it's pretty much dead on.
Yeah, dead on. This team does a great job. As I said, they're very focused, very disciplined. As Tori also said, courageous. They have done a lot of work to get us to this point today through this pandemic, changed how they did some of their work, made adjustments as needed, a lot of cleaning, a lot of things, a lot of wearing their face masks, doing all kinds of things. And so this is an exciting time, not only for the JPL team in Mars 2020, but everybody that's worked this mission and for the country and the agency. So this is exciting to see. We still have a long way to go, Joshua.
Yes.
before spacecraft separation.
Yeah, we had a really quiet countdown today, which is phenomenal, that we got off the ground on time. And we are proceeding now that we are in the middle of the first burn. It's tough to make out, but that engine is lit and it's firing. So we are in motion. There you go. There's that animation we talked about.
The telemetry there as we switch to a TDRS compatible data format.
TDRS.
Overall telemetry quality is very good.
The space tracking system. So there you go. This is not an actual video, but this is an animation that's driven by real data. So although we're not actually seeing the engine on screen right now, we can see that the engine is lit, and that is driven by the data that says that the engine is truly lit and we're in this burn.
Yeah, the launch vehicle continues to send telemetry to the launch team via the TDRS network, as you mentioned, and that allows them to continue to watch what's going on and make sure all their sequence of events meet their timeline. We continue on a nominal flight this morning. This first burn, as we heard earlier, will be about 6 minutes. This will get us into that park orbit around Earth, allow us to get on our way, and then get into that approximately 30-minute coast period that we're going to have.
8 minutes into flight, beginning to see the Centaur PU system balance out mass errors, seeing very stable body rates in the Centaur.
So we've mentioned 5 teams at play, and although if you were watching, hopefully you got a chance to see this in person, if not on camera, it's easy to kind of say, oh, it's over, like job done, but all 5 of these teams still very much engaged, still very much focused, because there's a lot of work ahead as we proceed through this first burn, and then a coast phase, like you mentioned, Mick, and then a second burn, and then spacecraft separation and the acquisition of signal from Mars 2020. So a lot more coming up here. Mick, I know for Launch Services Program, you guys manage the launch. So what does that mean? I mean, this is you guys' work in action right now.
By the way, that's the 5th team that we didn't get to mention. We talked about JPL, we talked about DOE, we talked about United States Space Force, and United Launch Alliance. LSP, we are like the brokers to select this launch vehicle and help with manage this mission. So we get our spacecraft customer, the JPL folks, they come to us. They have some certain requirements that they need for this mission. The Launch Services Program made up of engineers and flight analysis folks, and they look at everything, they help define those requirements, and then we go out and procure a vehicle from a commercial partner. In this case, it was the Atlas 541 for the Mars 2020 mission that was needed for performance, right? As you and I have talked over the last several days, Josh, one of the things that was important for us to look at was that performance, to be able to get Mars 2020 onto that transfer orbit into solar orbit to intercept Mars in 7 months. It's kind of analogous to a football game, right? With a quarterback trying to throw a pass downfield. You need a quarterback with a lot of performance who can get that ball down there where it needs to be, and so the receiver can intercept that. In our case, 7 months later.
There you go. Yeah, it's the longest football pass ever. The Earth is the quarterback. The Atlas is the quarterback's arm. Perseverance is the football, and Mars is the receiver.
That's exactly right.
And what we also talked about is that technically, you could launch to Mars at any time if you had a rocket that was powerful enough. But this is the launch period every 26 months or so, as we've talked about, that makes the most sense because you require the least amount of energy to get to Mars, because it takes a lot to get there. Obviously, like the Atlas 541 is a workhorse.
Yeah, as Tori said, it's their dominator. Right?
There you go.
So there we go, folks. We're 10 minutes into the launch, post-launch with the ULA, United Launch Alliance is the company that provides the Atlas V rocket that has boosted the Perseverance rover into space. This is streaking through space there on this animation. Obviously, there's no one up in space with a camera to shoot this live for us. We don't quite have those space forces floating around the planet at the moment. So there you go. This is a live feed from NASA, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, here in the United States, responsible for space exploration, also atmospheric information and data and weather data for back here on the Big Blue Marble. Folks, thanks for tuning in. I hope you're enjoying this so far. We're talking about the Mars 2020 Perseverance rover, which is on its way now to Mars with a scheduled arrival date of 18 February 2021. So a 7-month journey, and this is possible because at the moment, Mars and the Earth are both on the same side of the sun, a situation that doesn't occur all the time, of course, because we are moving around the sun at different speeds. And so at the moment, this occurs every 2 years where the Earth and Mars are on the same side of the sun, and this reduces the amount of time to get to Mars and the amount of fuel that's necessary to do it. So what we're seeing there, this Atlas V rocket that launched this craft into space, and inside there is the Perseverance rover, which has 23 cameras on board and 2 microphones, ladies and gentlemen. Fascinating amount of instrumentation. Let me just talk quickly about Perseverance and let you know what's on it there. So, as I said, the launch window was today through the 15th of August, a narrow window. And we had perfect weather in Florida there, as you can see, Cape Canaveral, to get this up into space and escape. Perseverance rover will be seeking signs of ancient life and collecting rock samples for a possible return back here to the Big Blue Marble. You know, the third rock from the sun. Right here. Anyway, Perseverance is scheduled to land in Jezero Crater. It's a place that holds promise for past microbial life on Mars, back when it had an atmosphere and a magnetosphere to keep the planet protected and life was possible millions of years ago. Launch period is right now. 7 instruments on board the Perseverance, including different ways to measure different things taking place on Mars. And as I mentioned, 23 cameras, 2 microphones. The actual dimensions of the rover itself are 10 feet long by 9 feet wide and 7 feet tall. So it's taller than I am, folks. I'm 6 feet 2 inches. So if I stood toe-to-toe with the Perseverance, there you see Majega Cooper in the feed on the live stream from NASA. There she is on the right-hand side. One of America's rising intellects and talents. You may know her from How the Universe is Made. She appears on there and is interviewed many, many times. But 10 feet long by 9 feet wide by 7 feet tall. So taller than I am. That's 3 meters by 2.7 meters by 2.2 meters tall. So taller than I am. So the weight of the Perseverance rover is 2,260 pounds, ladies and gentlemen. It's not a light one there. It's as heavy as a tiny car, I suppose. 1,025 kilograms is what that comes out to be in metrics, ladies and gentlemen. So there you have it. That's the Perseverance rover, and it's not traveling alone, ladies and gentlemen. As I mentioned earlier, check out this little bugger right there. That is the Ingenuity Helicopter. Can you imagine this? NASA has launched this rover, and it's also launched a helicopter. The helicopter is going to go along on mission. It's currently strapped to the bottom of the Perseverance rover. It will release and will then land and attempt to fly on the surface of Mars. This is a big deal, ladies and gentlemen, because gravity is far lower in Mars, and that should make it easier, but Mars' atmosphere is virtually non-existent. Just 1% of the Earth's atmosphere. In order to achieve flight, you need an atmosphere. And so this will be quite a significant achievement. This is not formally part of the mission itself, but rather this is a proof of concept. The idea to prove that we can have flight on the surface of Mars. And so this helicopter, Ingenuity, is also part of the mission. Pretty fascinating stuff, if you ask me. Let me just read from what NASA has put out about the Ingenuity. The Mars helicopter Ingenuity is a small autonomous aircraft that will be carried to the surface of the red planet attached to the belly of the Perseverance rover. I just told you that. Anyway, its mission is experimental in nature and completely independent of the rover's science mission. There you go. In the months after landing, the helicopter will be placed on the surface to test for the first time ever powered flight in the thin Martian air. Its performance during these experimental test flights will help inform decisions relating to considering small helicopters for future Mars missions, and where they can perform in a support role as robotic scouts surveying the terrain from above, or its full standalone science carrying instrumental payloads. Taking the air would give scientists a new perspective on a region's geology and even allow them to peer into areas that are too steep or slippery to send a rover. In the distant future, they might even help astronauts explore Mars. There you go. The project is solely a demonstration technology. As I said, it's a proof of concept, ladies and gentlemen, to see if we can actually pull this off. The Ingenuity Helicopter. Can you imagine that? A helicopter on Mars. What will NASA come up with next, ladies and gentlemen? Yeah, I hope you are enjoying this morning's launch from Cape Canaveral with an Atlas V rocket provided by ULA, that's United Launch Alliance, a private corporation which supplied the rocket, the Atlas V rocket, which lifted the Perseverance craft and the Ingenuity into space, and has it's on its way now to Mars with a scheduled arrival date of the 18th of February, 2021. That ULA Atlas V rocket has got 4 giant thrusters with 350,000 pounds of thrust, which got it off the surface of Earth and into space. Wow, breaking through our atmosphere and getting out into space. Pretty amazing stuff, folks. Lots of different key equipment on this thing. 23 different cameras. We ought to get all kinds of views once once Perseverance is hit and touched down safely on the surface of Mars, this should be quite amazing. Of course, this is not the first Mars rover. We've had previous rovers going back as far as 1965. We had our first mission to Mars with NASA. No rover, but a mission. That was the Mariner 4 mission to Mars. Then we had the Viking 1 mission in 1975. The Sojourner rover made it. And of course, Mars' two famous rock stars when it comes to rover missions, those were the twin rovers of Spirit and Opportunity, which landed in 2004 on the surface of Mars. Yeah, those are the rock stars, the little rovers that could. Just kept going for years and years after the fact. Those two pretty beat up on the surface of Mars now. It's pretty rough terrain. The wheels all torn up, batteries died, gone silent, that sort of thing. Pretty amazing stuff, folks. So not the first rover, but this will be the most capable rover thus far, obviously, with lots of cameras, lots of capability on it. So once again, as I said, there's a launch window that occurs once every 2 years because of the position of the Earth and Mars as they rotate around the sun, both on the same side, which reduces the distance between Earth and Mars so that this craft can get there quicker and burn less fuel, making a much more efficient mission and less costly. Now, if we have powerful enough rockets, they could go at any time and get there, but this is the most efficient and effective way to do it, ladies and gentlemen. So that's what's going on with this launch today. This is yet another successful hit for NASA in its cooperation with private corporations to bring the best of public and private sector together to advance the interest of humankind and mankind. There you go. Humankind, mankind, same thing. I guess that was redundant, wasn't it? Anyway, so yeah, we saw just a month ago the SpaceX, the company founded by Elon Musk, the South African-born American entrepreneur who is also responsible for founding PayPal, where he made his vast fortune, and from there went from hit to hit after that, including the Tesla company with electric cars and battery production. In addition to that, SpaceX is a company he founded nearly 20 years ago now. And his dream was to get a rocket launch into space so we can get to Mars. And he achieved that. The joint mission between NASA and SpaceX, launching the Falcon 9 rocket with the Crew Dragon capsule and astronauts into space for the first launch of manned spaceflight from U.S. soil in nearly a decade, took go just a little over a month ago with Bob and Doug, who were up there in space. And anyway, taking them to the International Space Station, incredible, powerful moment, folks. That stream was here live on Chris Wide Africa. I had that stream. If you want to see me bawl like a little schoolgirl, you go watch that after launch. I was in tears, quite proud. Kind of choked up right now, too, as we see this once again. You were seeing on the screen there live from the NASA feed. That's an animation, obviously. We don't have a photographer that far into space, away from Earth, taking photographs for us. Perhaps along the way, we'll set up stations that just kind of hang out there in space and go around where you can just have cameras on them and watch our future spacecraft going by on their way to Mars. But at the moment, we don't have that. So you have the animation. And the animation is informed by actual telemetry data that's coming back from, I guess that's kind of redundant too, but the telemetry data is coming back from the actual craft itself, landing or coming back to the surface Earth. And so that's what's being used to do the animation and follow the spacecraft along as it continues on its way to Mars. With an arrival date of the 18th of February 2021, not that far away, folks. Just a 7-month journey, during which I'll be racking up a lot of frequent flyer miles, folks. Here, let me just bring that back up. So this is my digital boarding pass. I was on the flight this morning. Well, digitally I was on the flight, so isn't that cool? Check it out. There's my Mars boarding pass, and that gets me a lot of frequent flyer miles. So check that out. The really cool stuff. Loving it. I'm going to put that back up and leave it up now. It's not really distracting anymore. There you go. So that's my boarding pass for the mission this morning. You too can have a boarding pass. You go to NASA's website and sign up for this for future launches. You get a boarding pass, you get frequent flyer miles, and you earn patches for the mission. So if you look on that ticket right there, you will see on the right-hand side the little orangish shape with the rover on it, the Perseverance rover, which don't be deceived by that little animation you see on the screen. That little puppy is not tiny. It is 7 feet tall, ladies and gentlemen. Not exactly a pipsqueak. 7 feet tall, taller than I am, and I can play basketball. I don't think the Perseverance rover can play basketball, but it can probably do some pretty impressive tricks with 23 cameras, 2 microphones, and a helicopter strapped to its belly right now. It is carrying along the Ingenuity Helicopter to the surface of Mars. How cool is that? Anyway, so there's my boarding pass, folks. I hope you had a boarding pass. I think Lazan or somebody did have a It wasn't Liaison, maybe it was Elizabeth last night, who also had a boarding pass. When I checked the statistics for those around the world who registered for this launch virtually, the top 3 countries on the planet with people who signed up for it were, number 1, Brazil, with 89,000 people who signed up for this launch. And then India with 73,000, followed by the United States with about 66,000 who signed up for the launch. South Africa also had folks sign up for it. Impressively, over 2,000 South Africans signed up for this launch. So bravo, well done for folks in South Africa. But the U.S. comes in third. So this space flight is interesting to a lot of people, but not just to Americans. How cool is that, ladies and gentlemen? Anyway, so there you go. That is what's going on right here at the moment as we discuss things. This is the Perseverance launch here today. We got 17 likes and 31 people watching it. Come on. You guys don't let 20. Come on. Thank you, Hendo. Thank you very much. Can we get some more likes on that, folks? Hendo says, frequent flying miles. Why didn't we put the ANC government on the rocket on a one-way trip? Well, that's because they would have had to pay for it, and there's nothing to pilfer on the flight. So I don't think you're going to get them on there. So anyway, how can we see you're off camera? Oh, Anne-Marie. Yeah, well, I was off camera, so you guys get a good view of that thing. I really like the detached, when the booster rocket detached. That was a nice view from inside. You could see that was pretty cool. Yeah, come on, guys. 25 likes. There we go. That's a bit better. Come on, I can not like this thing. So there you go. There's the control center back there. And this is pretty fascinating stuff, I have to say. I love it. And I love how we're going from success to success here with the NASA's program. So there's a question earlier. I'm trying to remember who asked the question. It was James or somebody. Maybe I got it wrong. But they were asking the question about how NASA determines what's done by which missions contractors do and which missions NASA do. Well, let me make it clear. NASA is responsible for every single mission, but they contract for services. For instance, in this case, they contracted for the rocket, the Atlas V rocket, which was built by ULA, United Launch Alliance, and they contracted for them to provide that service. For the mission that took Bob and Doug into space to the International Space Station last month, they worked in conjunction in a joint mission. The planning, and the execution of it was a joint mission between NASA and SpaceX, a private corporation. This concept for public-private partnership was started many years ago. It was advanced under the Obama administration, but the focus went from manned space flight back to simply exploration craft. Things like the New Horizons would be something that considered part of that, although that did take place before Obama became president. But you get the point, that sort of unmanned exploration. However, Donald Trump has brought manned space flight back into vogue and has gone from one success to another, despite the distractors, the nonsense happening here in the United States politically. We see Donald Trump doing quite well, creating the U.S. Space Force, another branch of the U.S. military, currently under the U.S. Air Force. And Space Force is responsible for providing some of the data for this, as well as the weather data for today. So well done. Hendo says this rover is more advanced. Got Mike there to pick up sound. He's zapping the rock to collect samples. That's correct. We'll be doing rocket sample collection for eventual return of Mars rocks. Not just moon rocks, ladies and gentlemen, but Mars rocks to the surface of the Earth. There's Mujega Cooper, ladies and gentlemen, on the screen. ANC on board. The fuel would have been stolen, so the mission would have had been scrapped. Ouch, says Anna Marie Forster. And she's right. How are we doing on the likes, folks? Let's get back to that. 28. See what happens? We got you get so busy into watching the launch and following along with what's going on that people miss out and forget all about important things like the likes. So thank you for the likes. By the way, also, there was a super chat earlier. Let me get back to that. That would be negligent of me, but I was busy as we had the launch going there, folks, so I did not mention the super chat. So let me get to those really quickly here. We did have a super chat at the start of this. I think it was Nicholas. Let me just double check. I don't want to misstate who sent the super chat, but thank you so much for the super chat. Keith Alderson, who's in the UK, says, my dad was into all things science. He used to chat to people about one of the first photos from Mars. Let me show you one of my holiday snaps, he'd say. Bit rocky on the beach. That's clever. I love it. Your dad has a good sense of humor. My kind of humor, folks. Awesome stuff. Bradley, and when those rocks come back from Mars, attached will be a microscopic bioentity that propagates on Earth and takes over. Well, yeah, there you go. Absolutely. It'll be little creatures that have been hanging out on Mars waiting a long time just to take over the Earth. and we will be the instruments of our own doom as we bring back these little entities. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting close to 6,000 subscribers on the channel. It's been slow going for the past week or so, but we're now at 5,992, which is a jump from this morning. So thank you to those who become subscribers who are tuning in. Really appreciate your patronage here in Chris White Africa. It's really a pleasure to have you. But let me get back to, I just want to make sure, let's take a look at memberships on the channel too as we watch these folks discuss what's going on. There's the animation for the craft once again. So on memberships for Chris White Africa, we are currently, I think, at 89. Let me double check and see. We are at 87. Oh, I guess we lost a couple members, or I miscounted. Maybe it was 87 and I missed it. Yeah. Yep. Lars Ollis and Nicholas joined yesterday. Thank you so much for that. And we did have a super chat on this one that was Nicholas. Thank you so much for that super chat, Nicholas. Thanking me for bringing this to the lounge. So it's my pleasure, absolute pleasure. It's my pleasure to have you guys along to join me. I really appreciate this. If you've figured out by now, I'm a huge space fan, huge buff of astronomy. If I only had the math skills, I probably would have been an astronomer. Although the paychecks are pretty lame, so I wouldn't have enjoyed the paycheck. But anyway, so well, now people are joining the chat. I thank you all joining the chat. Let's see what's going on here. How do rockets plan now with Elon Musk's mesh network out there? Do you think the planning is more intense? Well, Philip, I think it's a good question, but the mesh network is one thing. But, we have hundreds, thousands of satellites orbiting the Earth. It's always a challenge. But listen, we look at the Earth and it looks like it's small, but it's massive. And the space above our heads is massive. Even with thousands of things up there and it's necessary to pay attention to what's going on in space. That's one of the responsibilities of the Air Force. Now that falls to Space Force to track orbital debris and objects in space, extraterrestrial objects, satellites. There is a lot of space to maneuver up there, but nonetheless, it is an issue. So good question. But the issue is not, there's a little animation of Mars surface right there. But as you can see, time going back millions of years, and of course that's all gone and the surface degraded now. And so you can see the erosion there. Look at that. So check it out. But yeah, so the mesh network that Musk is putting up to support his free internet for the planet, we'll see if that happens, is just one of the numbers. We have the Inmarsat network. We have the GPS satellite network. China's putting up a network that replicates GPS. So many different satellites have their communication satellites, weather satellites, spy satellites, lots of things in space, folks. So it's always a concern, but it's a big sky. And that's what James said, big sky. You only got the notification now, Carl. Sorry about that. I mentioned this a few days ago. And so I'm not sure why you're just getting a notification now. It should have got a notification the first time when I posted this about 3 days ago is when I first posted it. So sorry you tuned in late, but you go back after this stream if you'd like. You can rewatch it. And you want to go, if you just want to see the launch, you want to advance about 20 minutes from when I started, or about 15 minutes. Go 15 minutes because I didn't start right at 7:30. I think I started about 2 minutes later than I intended. So go about 15 minutes forward if you want to watch the actual launch. It was a brilliant launch, perfectly clear day at Cape Canaveral in Florida for the launch of this Atlas V rocket from United Launch Alliance, a private corporation supplying the rocket to NASA to launch the Perseverance rover and its little buddy, the Ingenuity helicopter, which is strapped to its belly into space today. So there you go. Doc Breaker, hey, good, there you go. What is it? James, mankind, people kind, human right. That's cute. And those rocks, oh, you already said that. Set to land on Jezero Crater, that's correct. Yep, and that's what you saw there. That's Jezero Crater. It was an animation of it. I mentioned that earlier. Do you know the ETA on Mars? I do, Anna Marie Forster. The ETA on Mars is the 18th of February, 2021. So 7 months from now, folks. Just 7 months. Anyway, amazing how complex the international partnership cooperative plan is to return rock samples on this mission. It is pretty cool. Riveting stream. I have my ticket, but I'm also tuned in. Well, thank you, Anne-Marie. That's right. You're the one that had the ticket. Isn't that cool? Anne-Marie and I are on the trip together. We're flying virtually to Mars with Perseverance and the little cool buddy there. There's Mujega. Mujega Cooper, folks. Yes, and that is how she pronounces her name. It's spelled Mugega, but she pronounces it Mujega. She is a bit of a rock star. She's getting a little bit older there now. She was very young when we first saw her come on the scene. There's a mock-up replica of the rover itself. Check it out. Really cool. And they're showing off all the cameras that you see on the craft itself. Steve Hofmeyer on Germ. Was Steve Hofmeyer actually on Germ? I'm irritated now. I've been trying to get a hold of Steve Hofmeyer for a while. What's going on there? Nicholas says, for notifications, make sure your phone number is linked to your Google account. That never fails. Thank you. That's good advice, Nicholas. So, folks, if you're not getting notifications for your YouTube channels you're subscribed to, Nicholas's recommendation is go back and make sure that your mobile number is attached to your Google account. Now, some people just out of habit don't put their mobile numbers on there. But if you put your mobile number on there, then you're going to get notified, is what Nicholas is saying. So that's kind of cool. Hendo says these programs are becoming cheaper. Even the Arabs are sending satellites into space, new pioneering into space, with India getting involved in space exploration. Yeah, all of those folks are involved. James says he's looking for the James Webb Telescope launch, as am I. The Webb Telescope is going to be amazing, absolutely amazing, massive, huge. It's going to make a big difference in what we can see out there in space. Pretty cool. He was, and it was actually a really great vid. I will check it out, Philip. Thank you for that. No, I saw the image for Germ's stream, and I thought it was clickbait. I thought he was just going to talk about Steve Hofmeyer and his recent video. No, I had someone whom I know who knows Steve Hofmeyer who was trying to put me in touch with Steve Hofmeyer, and I've been trying for 2 months and have made no progress. So now Hofmeyer's done something that wants everybody's attention. I'll never get him now. So kind of disappointed in that. But anyway, I'll keep trying. We'll see what happens. Actually catching up to Germ in subscribers. Germ has got, last time I checked, he was a little bit ahead of me. But let me see where Germ is at now when it comes to subscribers. So anyway, yeah, this is, you're tuned in listening to a live stream here. This is Chris Wyatt on the Chris Wyatt Africa channel here on YouTube. And you are watching a live feed from NASA and footage from NASA as we approach Mars. We've launched this morning for the Perseverance rover mission to Mars, folks. That's what we're looking at today. So check it out. Let me see. That's not what I wanted. I'm trying to get to something here very quickly. So I don't see that link there. I'm trying to find it now for Germ. Boy. Anyway, so let's see where we're at. All right. So we're now 33 and a half minutes past the launch of the mission to Mars, Mars 2020, the Perseverance rover, ladies and gentlemen. So now 33 minutes into the mission. Okay, it looks like my camera might be freezing up. I'm going to shut my camera down for just a moment, folks, and then turn it back on, which is what I've done before. So hang on there. I'm going to shut my camera down and try to restore the sync between what I'm saying and what you're seeing. So don't go away. Keep watching the animation. All right, there we go. Okay, hopefully that's better, folks. That's a little bit better. Sometimes it just gets a little behind there. Hopefully that's working. You guys can see me a lot better. James Webb launching October 31st, 2021. Yeah, we still got a ways before that thing takes off. There you go. Check out that solar flare. Wow, that's pretty nasty looking. Oh, thank you for the link to the germ warfare one. Excellent. Okay, that's not, I can't get to that there. I have to go over here. Yeah, so anyway, so folks, so we have got this thing now about 34 minutes since launch time. Did that freeze up on me? Looks like the feed might have frozen. Let me get back to the feed really quickly there. Oh, there we go. Huh. Let me get back to that. There we go. There you go. That was frozen up there. Yeah, we are a good 35 minutes now past launch as this thing heads on its way to the surface of Mars, ladies and gentlemen. Really cool stuff. Yeah, so that Hofmeyer thing ought to be pretty interesting. Ought to be pretty interesting. Let me see what we got here. So, yeah, it's good to see that that Steve Hofmeyer is coming out. I was very disappointed in Hofmeyer. His video was profound and powerful that he did, but he did it in Afrikaans. While I appreciate that, how about doing it in English if you want to reach the rest of the world? If you want the world's attention to focus on what's happening in South Africa, you really, really need to do it in English. Most of the world doesn't speak Afrikaans. It's just a small number of people actually speak it. So it would be very helpful if Steve Hofmeyer did that video actually in English. So, yeah, Germ has 8,000 subscribers. I'm catching up to him there with my almost 6,000 now. That's kind of cool. So if he can get Hofmeyer, maybe I can get Hofmeyer with the number of subscribers I've got on here, folks. Yeah, so Nicholas has just done a super chat, which you can't see because I'm in the way there. So let me try to take myself off there if I can get it off in time. Didn't come up in time. Sorry about that. Yes, Nicholas just gave 35 Rand. Must run. Mortgage paperwork to do. Consider this a tip for the coverage. Well, thank you so much, Nicholas. I really appreciate that. That's the second super chat here on this stream. Thank you so much. Let's see. Launching a big engine on Sunday. The English will be out on Sunday. What are you guys talking about? Christian Smuts, who is launching the rocket, NASA or SpaceX or some other company. Christoph, welcome. You must have come in late to the stream. I've been talking about the rocket is from ULA. That's United Launch Alliance. It's a private corporation that supplied the rocket to NASA. This is fully a NASA mission to Mars 2020 with the Perseverance rover. The ULA Atlas V rocket is supplied by ULA. So there you go. I think that answers the question. Oh, Steve is streaming his English. Oh, that's you guys saying, okay, not engine, English. Thank you so much, Ashley. His English version Sunday morning. Well, looking forward to that. Cool beans. Let's see. All right, cool beans. Okay, all right. So let's see what else we got here. One more. Okay. Still editing his English version of the video. We'll be releasing soon. Okay, great. That's something I didn't know. Thank you guys for sharing that. So that's kind of cool. Just Google Palestra Media, Steve Hofmeyer. That should find it. Starts with a Dutch introduction, interviews in English. Okay, cool beans. All right. By the way, folks, here on the Chris Wyatt Africa channel, got some things coming up. I'm going to go ahead and drop off the NASA feed, okay, and keep talking here to you guys. So let me just drop that off, and come on, here we go. Right, I'll just take that off the screen, bring myself down here. Come on, and we'll just chat a bit more here about some things. So speaking of things happening here on the channel, later today, I have on my channel, live on Chris Wyatt Africa, Herman Roos, a tobacco farmer from South Africa who lives in Northwest Province, who recently did an appeal, a video appeal to President Cyril Ramaphosa to end the tobacco ban in South Africa. Herman, who's been on my channel previously, I think this is the first channel he went on when he was just for people just learning about him, or maybe he might have been Ronaldo before my channel. But we had Herman on the channel, and we talked back in May. He's coming back on now, and you may have seen the video I did recently on the tobacco situation, the tobacco ban in South Africa. In that video, I included a 36-second cameo from Herman. So check out that video on my channel if you have a moment. That's a good one, the tobacco ban. I called that video Up in Smoke, the ANC's tobacco ban, a homage to Cheech and Chong's 1978 movie, 79, Up in Smoke, which is, I'll never forget that movie. But yeah, so that video, which included a cameo by Herman Roos, who will be on the program later today, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time here in the United States, 6 p.m. in South Africa and Botswana later today, folks. That's today, Thursday, July 30th. On the 31st, tomorrow, the 31st of July, my guest will be, in fact, the aforementioned Jeremy Nell from Germ Warfare, who had Steve Hofmeyer on his channel. So I'll be asking about Steve Hofmeyer tomorrow, now that I realize he was actually on his channel. And we'll be discussing a number of things tomorrow, so looking forward to that. And I'll be posting here shortly after I go off the air. I will be posting a link to Saturday's live stream, my regular Saturday live stream, which is at noon Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. South Africa, Botswana. My guest will be Gideon, as you guys say in Afrikaans in South Africa. Gideon will be my guest. Gideon is known as Paratus, a gun rights advocate from South Africa. He and I will be discussing gun rights, the Second Amendment here in the United States, things like that, folks. So that's kind of cool. Anyway, so check that out. That will be on Saturday. All right, so I thank you all for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed this morning. I'm going to cut it here at about the hour, and thank you all so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. By the way, how are we doing on likes, folks? What's going on with the likes? How are we doing on likes? What is going on with likes? Let me check out that and see how many likes we've got now. What are we up to? We are up to 39 likes, 26 people currently watching. That's really cool. Thank you so much for that. That is awesome. Make sure that's still current because I'm seeing an old part of the feed there now. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in this morning. I hope you enjoyed this launch with me. I truly, truly enjoyed it. It was fascinating, good stuff. And I do hope that you enjoyed this today. So there you go. All right, let me get back to the stream here. And as I said, I'm going to close it, and I'll be back on later today, ladies and gentlemen. You can come back here on Chris Wyatt Africa in about, that's 3.5 hours from now, not that far. So I need to get some breakfast, maybe take a brief nap or something. I got up kind of early for this. I want to thank you guys. Yeah, please smash the like button if you haven't done it already. Let your friends and family know. If you've got some foes, don't send the foes anymore. I'm going to quit asking for the foes. Getting some trolls coming on the channel. We don't need the trolls. Anyway, so Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We're coming up 1 hour, and I'm going to close out here. And thank you all for joining us. Remember, the Perseverance will be arriving on Mars the 18th of February, 2021. Looking forward to that. We've got more stuff coming up when it comes to astronomy and space discovery, and we'll keep covering those events as they come up here on the channel. So I hope that you enjoy those. Let me get rid of my boarding pass there. And we're going to close out the stream right here, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. And please come back at noon. Enjoy me, noon or 6 p.m. in South Africa for that event later today. Also, by the way, folks, if you have a moment, let me put this in there if I can find it very quickly. If you go to the X-Roadies channel, which Lynn has started, that's currently on the air right now. I don't know how far. They should be about 30 minutes into it. But here's the link to that channel. Check it out. Do you know the Space Simulator Kerbal Space Program? No, I'm not familiar with that. But check it out. Oh, there's a big protest today with farmers. That's good to hear about. We'll check into that. That's a link for X-Roadies, which is a new channel. Lynn is on there if you want to go check that out and see what's going on for Lynn's channel, if you've got a moment to do that. So thank you all so much for tuning in. We're going to close out now. And I'll be back in 3.5 hours for another live stream with Herman Roos, the tobacco farmer. So I ask you to please come back then and bring your family and friends, and we'll hear what's going on with the tobacco ban and what's happening to tobacco farmers, their workers in South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Hey, Corlia, catch you guys later on. Appreciate you being part of this stream, historic moment as we head back to Mars. Thank you very much.